Glowing star Michael Jackson, childhood dreams glowing star. Inspirational long story 1+ hour. Introduction. There are children who dream of becoming doctors. Some children dream of becoming teachers. Others dream of traveling the world, or one day building something that changes lives. But there was one boy, a small boy with big brown eyes, a soft voice, and a smile that hid both pain and wonder. This boy dreamed of music. This boy dreamed of lights, of stages, of people singing along to the melodies inside his head. That boy's name was Michael Joseph Jackson. Before he became the king of pop, before the world screamed his name in sold-out stadiums, before he moonwalked across the stage in front of millions, he was just a child. A child filled with dreams. This is the story of Michael Jackson's childhood dreams. Chapter 1: The Humble Beginning. Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana. Gary was not a glamorous place. It was a small, tough steel town, where most families worked hard just to survive. The Jackson family lived in a tiny 2-bedroom house. Imagine it. 11 people packed into a small space, with only 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The walls were thin, privacy barely existed, yet within those walls, something extraordinary was waiting to be born. Michael was the 8th of 10 children. His father, Joseph, worked long shifts at a steel mill. His mother, Catherine, was a gentle woman, deeply spiritual, who filled the home with gospel music. She had a dream herself, that her children would grow up in faith and love. Michael's earliest memories were of music. His mother played records by gospel groups like the Staple Singers. She also loved classical music, and sometimes lullabies. She sang to the children in her warm, angelic voice. It was in those moments, sitting on the floor, listening to his mother's voice, that Michael's first dreams began to form. Chapter 2: A Father's Discipline, a Child's Fire. Michael's father, Joseph Jackson, was a strict and demanding man. He believed in discipline above all else. To Joseph, success only came from hard work and perfection. Joseph saw that his sons had talent, especially Tito, Jermaine, Jackie, and later, Michael. He formed them into a group, the Jackson Brothers, and later the Jackson 5. For little Michael, who was only 5 years old at the time, this was not just play, it was serious. His father pushed him to rehearse endlessly. The rehearsals were grueling, hours and hours of practicing dance steps, harmonies, and routines. If they made a mistake, Joseph's temper would flare. Michael was terrified of disappointing his father. Yet, deep down inside, every time he sang, he felt something magical. He said later in his life, "When I was very little, my dream was to sing. I didn't know how it would happen, but I felt it. It was like it was already written for me." Michael's childhood was filled with pressure, but also with an unstoppable fire. Music was his escape, his joy, his dream. Chapter 3: The Little Star Shines. One night, during a family rehearsal, Michael's brothers were singing lead. Michael was only supposed to watch. But then, Joseph heard something, Michael's tiny voice humming along in perfect pitch. He turned to Michael and said, "Sing louder." Michael hesitated. He was shy. His brothers looked at him curiously. But then Michael sang, his high, soulful voice filling the room. It was far beyond his years. It was raw, emotional, and pure. Everyone stopped. Catherine gasped. Tito's mouth fell open. Joseph's stern face softened for a brief moment. Michael had a gift. From that moment, Michael was no longer just the youngest brother. He became the lead singer. At only 6 years old, he was standing at the front of the group, carrying songs with the voice of a child who seemed touched by something greater. Chapter 4: The Dream Grows. The Jackson 5 began performing at local talent shows, school events, and small clubs. Michael was nervous before every show. But when the lights hit, when the music started, he transformed. He spun, he slid, he sang with soul. The crowd would cheer, and Michael would smile, his heart swelling with happiness. After one performance, a lady leaned down to him and said, "You're going to be a big star one day, young man." Michael's eyes lit up. A big star. That night, He lay awake in his small bed, thinking about what she had said. He imagined himself on a huge stage, lights flashing, people clapping. He dreamed of singing songs that touched people's hearts. Those dreams gave him strength to endure the long rehearsals, the stern discipline, the sacrifices of childhood. Chapter 5, Motown Dreams. By 1968, the Jackson 5's talent was undeniable. They auditioned for Motown Records, the legendary label behind stars like Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, and Marvin Gaye. At the audition, Michael poured his heart into every note. He danced, he sang, he smiled. Berry Gordy, Motown's founder, was blown away. He signed them on the spot. Michael was only 10 years old, but his dream was already becoming reality. The Jackson 5's first singles, I Want You Back, ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There, all went straight to #1. Imagine being a child, barely old enough to play outside freely, and suddenly the entire world is singing your songs. Michael felt the weight of fame, but also the joy of seeing his dream unfold. Still, behind the glitter and success, he longed for something simple, a normal childhood. Chapter 6, The Price of Dreams. While other children played baseball in the streets, Michael was on stage. While other kids laughed at school, Michael was traveling, performing, recording. He once said, I remember going to the window at Motown and watching kids play outside, and I would cry. Because it was something I could never do. The dream was beautiful, but it had a price. Michael's childhood dreams were not of toys or games. They were of music, of applause, of a stage that seemed both magical and lonely. Chapter 7, The Visionary Child. Even as a boy, Michael thought beyond his years. He dreamed of more than just singing. He dreamed of changing music, of creating art that would live forever. He told his mother, one day, Mom, I'm going to do things no one's ever seen before. And he meant it. Michael dreamed of using music to bring people together, to break barriers, to heal hearts. Those dreams carried him through the pain, the strict rehearsals, the loss of childhood. Closing reflections. Michael Jackson's childhood dreams were not just fantasies. They were the seeds of a destiny that would one day crown him the greatest entertainer the world has ever seen. But at the heart of it all, he was still that little boy from Gary, Indiana, sitting by the record player, listening to his mother sing, and imagining a life filled with music. Michael Jackson's childhood dreams remind us of something powerful. No dream is too big. No voice is too small. And sometimes, the dreams of a child can change the world. Sparkles the End, Michael Jackson's childhood dreams.